Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel again. Okay, so today I wanted to go into a very specific type of talk. Today's going to be a special, basically going over stabilization endurance. The past couple days what I've been doing is I've been kind of showing you some routines that you can do to really build that first phase of that optimum training model to strengthen the core, the deep muscles in your fibers, the deep muscle fibers in your upper body, lower, your whole entire body. All right, because to be able to have stability while you're going into the next phases, you have to make sure that you have that first phase in check and really understand that your core, your lumbopelvic hip complex, and your deep muscle stabilizers throughout your body are the most important muscles to strengthen first before you get into the next phases. Okay, so today I'm going to kind of go into more of a discussion, through my experience, I want to kind of share this information with you. Okay, but I'm going to start off first by talking a little bit about myself. So those of you who may not know me yet, my name is Philip Reed. I'm a personal trainer. I've been doing personal training now for over 3 years. My school experience obviously was in Brazil. I actually was there for 4 years, did a bachelor's degree in physical education, although the school that I went to I consider more personal training because I learned every single aspect of being a personal trainer. And I came out graduating and specializing in biomechanics and kinesiology. Okay, which is basically the movements of the human body in relation to mechanics. Okay, so that's something that I specialized in, and I've worked in several gyms throughout my life. I've learned a lot of different information from different professionals throughout my career, and I came to the point also that I've been training a lot for a certain number of years, and through a lot of different trial and error and other forms of training, I've learned that building the body a certain way is so important. So I wanted to share this information with you today. For those of you who are starting off, who don't understand how to build their body, it's so important to work that first phase, which is stabilization endurance, which is basically just building a body like you're building a house from the ground up. You have to start off from the base and work your way up from there. Okay, so why is stabilization endurance so important? So when you're going into strength training, for example, and you're working with heavy weights, and you're trying to build a little bit of that core strength, the lumbopelvic hip complex strength, it's so important to understand that when you're doing certain exercises for those phases, if you don't have that stability to hold that posture together, you won't be able to do the exercise properly. And that can affect your muscles and your joints down the line. Not to mention when you're doing a row, for example, in a curved spine, that can really hurt you. Okay, so that's why it's so important to have those muscles, okay, throughout the whole entire body, those deep fibers to not only give you stability and balance and postural control, but to give you strength to be able to support your body during those exercises. Okay, so let's go into a little bit of some certain things that I find very important from my personal experience that you can do. Now guys, disclaimer, remember that these exercises that I'm showing you throughout all my videos are opinion-based only. Okay, through my own personal experience, I just want to kind of share this information with you. But again, it's very important that you understand how to work this phase into your daily routine. Okay, so we're going to start off by just showing you an exercise that I think is very great. Okay, so remember, before you start doing these routines, it's so important that you go into about a 5-10 minute stretch. Okay, and then I showed you in the previous videos. Okay, you have to make sure to stretch for about 5-10 minutes first before we get into it. Today, as I mentioned, is just informational, so I'm just showing you some exercises to keep you going. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is a couple exercises that I find important to strengthen those deeper muscles in your back. I'm talking about your erector spinae muscles down to your multifidus. All these muscles right here that support the spine are so important to strengthen. They're flexible. They're muscles like any other muscle in the body. So it's so important if you continuously to strengthen that area as well on a postural standpoint. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a bar. If you have one of these, please feel free to use it. Okay, if not, you can always grab a broomstick or a mop stick, whatever you need to just kind of use this as a reference point. So what we're trying to do here, we're trying to do a 3-point check here. So we're going to grab hands right behind your head here. You're going to make sure that you press the bar on the back of your neck. And then the lower part, you go right here where your lower back is. So you want to make sure to press it right into that lower part of your back. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to do a hip flexion. Okay, by really coming down. Okay, the point of this exercise is basically to strengthen those back muscles. Okay, those deep back muscles, so that eventually your back will be nice and solid So when you're doing things like deadlifts or rows, for example, your back will be nice and straight. So this is an exercise that will allow the muscles in the deep part of your back to be strengthened and to be supported so they don't curve. Okay, so continuously do this and as practice, before or after your workouts. I suggest before, kind of give you a couple sets, maybe anywhere between 12 to 15 reps of these. Okay, they're wonderful exercises to do. You got to make sure to hold that bar steady. And all you're doing is bending your hips, coming up and down. It's a nice little technique that I learned. It's a wonderful exercise that allows you to really strengthen your back muscles. There's deep fibers in your back to really keep that back nice and aligned as you're doing other exercises down the line. Okay, so wonderful exercise to do. Okay, another variation as well. It's a little bit more challenging in this level, but again, it's also very effective to strengthen those muscles in your back, your deep stabilizer in your back. So we're going to do something called an overhead squat. Now you got to remember, when you're doing overhead squats, guys, they're a little bit more advanced than doing a regular squat. You have to first, in my opinion, get the squat down first. Okay, understand the mechanics of a squat. Okay, so when you're doing a squat, you want to make sure that you come down, bend your hips, your knees are behind your toes. You're trying to keep that back nice and straight, and you want to come down like this. Okay, so that's a squat. Say if you're holding a couple dumbbells, for example, right inside of you. Okay, you're basically trying to keep that position together. Okay, so that's a wonderful, this is a good squat right here, coming straight down, and coming straight back up. So we're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to raise the bar. So as we're coming down, we're going to lift the bar up high, hold it for maybe about 2-3 seconds, and then come back down. Okay, again, what this does is you're basically extending your body on one side and contracting on the other to really get that nice stretch and also strengthening the muscles in your spine. Okay, again, another exercise to really help you to build that strength and build that better posture in your back so that you can effectively use that for other exercises down the line. Alrighty? So it's another great exercise to do right there. Another variation. Okay, so I definitely recommend you incorporating that as well. Okay, now remembering too that when we're strengthening those areas, you got to make sure that this becomes primary target as well. Okay, so again, exercise that I find very efficient. Okay, so one exercise that I definitely recommend, guys, is doing planks. Now planks can be a little bit boring after a while, just doing the same old thing, but you can always mix it up as well. There's a lot of different variations nowadays for planks. Dynamic planks, there's a lot of static type planks. Okay, there's planks that require a little bit more glute work, a little shoulder work. So try to vary it up a little bit and try to make it interesting for yourself when you're doing these routines to really strengthen that core. Okay, so again, doing the planks is another great way to really strengthen those deeper muscles in your abdominal wall. Okay, so I recommend this. You can also come back and forward. Okay, a little bit more work for the shoulders, but again, also working that core. You could also do it with your legs too. So side to side, or you can come forward. Okay, so kind of varying it up a little bit to really make it as creative as possible. But again, what we're focused on doing, those exercises, no matter what, is strengthen that inner core, which is so important. Okay, so another one that I like to do too, maybe a lot of you might find it a little bit challenging, but when you're doing things like mountain climbers or burpees, I want to tell you that those exercises right there, if you incorporate into a circuit fashion, can also become very relevant, okay, and very important to really build that core, the transverse, lower back, glutes, all of it. All right, so try to come in and do a little bit of cardio mix as well by doing some HIIT style exercises like burpees and mountain climbers as well. All right, so another thing. So what we talked about the past couple days are exercises that I find very efficient as well, and it's important to incorporate that. Why? Because we're trying to challenge our balance. Okay, when you challenge your balance, naturally what happens is you're basically recruiting deeper fibers in the muscles you're targeting to be able to support that stability. So things like one-legged stances, for example. Okay, so when you're doing one-legged stances, it's another great variation. There's so many different exercises you can do with a single leg stance. For example, like I showed you with the shoulder presses, You can do some bicep curls. You can do some cable flies, okay? All those exercises require for the body to use a little bit more of those deeper fibers to stabilize your body to be able to execute the exercise, okay? Definitely recommended, okay? You can also target using equipment like a stability ball, like I showed in the first video. Okay, stability ball is great because it's an unstable surface, and it basically forces your abdominal and your core to basically stabilize itself while you're executing as well. Now, when you're starting to work to build those stabilizer muscles on those core muscles, you got to make sure you start off with light equipment. Okay, so single leg stance is a good way to start, a stability ball. Okay, or you can even use like a platform, but you got to make sure the platform is somewhat stable. If you start going into, for example, like a Bosu ball, it might be a little bit challenging when you first start. The Bosu ball requires a lot of balance, so you have to start off light by doing a single leg and then working your way up from there. Okay, so these are exercises that I think are very important. Okay, another thing that I wanted to show you is working the hip complex. So it's not enough, guys, just to work the abdominal wall and to work the glutes. You got to make sure to work the hips, flexors, and extensors as well. Okay, so I love this little band right here. It's a great little band to use. Great technique. You just kind of wrap it around. And what we're trying to do here is a little two blocks. So two blocks are great because they're targeting the medial part of your glutes and also working your hips. So we're kind of go back and forth, side to side like this. Okay, it's a nice little tool to use. You can also mix it up and do a little squat and then come side to side, do another squat. Okay, a little squat and walk mix. Okay, another great variation. So those are exercises that I find very efficient. You can even come forward like this and do a forward, back and forth lunge. Or you can do it maybe now forward and squat, and then back and squat. Again, those are exercises that allow you to strengthen your hip flexors, your glute muscles, okay, and then your overall LPHC, okay? Keeping in mind that when you're doing these exercises, you have to start off on the light and kind of work your way up from there, okay? This band right here is a little bit on the heavier side. Start off with a lighter band, like a yellow or green band, and kind of work your way up as you build more strength. Okay, so this area becomes relevant, hip flexors become relevant, and also, again, using those balance techniques like I showed you with single leg stance and stability ball can really allow you to progress to get through the phases down the line. All right. So the last one I wanted to show you, again, that I think is important, is working with something like this. This is a medicine ball. It's an 8-pound ball. Okay, these right here can easily be found online. I definitely recommend you using these balls right here because they're weighted and allows you to really kind of do a lot of different kinds of transverse plane exercises, three-dimensional, going side to side, crossing over the body, okay, which allows you to work a little bit more, not just the center part, but your obliques and the deeper fibers in here as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple examples. So a wood chopper is definitely something I definitely recommend. Okay, so it's kind of like a cross-body exercise. You start off here, up high, and then you work your way down. Okay, great exercise to incorporate when you work in your stabilization endurance phase. Okay, just back and forth, and again, it allows you to really strengthen the side part of your core all the way back to your quadratus lumborum, lower back. Okay, that whole section, the back part of your core. All right, then you switch sides to the other side. So I suggest maybe a couple sets of these, anywhere between 12 to 15 reps. Okay, start off with a lighter weighted ball, so something like, for example, 4 or 5 pounds, even 6, and then work your way up to like 8 or 10. Okay, so it's a great exercise. Another one too that I like to do is kind of just cross over, side to side. Okay, great exercise as well. Kind of twisting your body to really target those obliques, that transverse part of your abdominal wall. Okay, another great exercise to do. Okay, a couple of sets of these as well was perfectly fine, anywhere between 12 to 15 reps. Okay, so, and you can also do some obliques. So do some lateral inclinations, so grabbing the ball, side to side, come back to the middle. Another great exercise you can do as well. Okay, so all those exercises are wonderful to really strengthen your core. Okay, so keeping in mind that this phase requires a lot of patience and also requires a lot of time. Okay, it's something that unfortunately you're not going to be able to do in just 1 month or even 2. You got to give it at least 3 to 4 months. Okay, it's a wonderful little a wonderful phase that requires a little bit more time. But again, if you consistently do this, you will see that with time you're going to build so much more strength in those deeper muscles throughout your body, and it's going to become so apparent to you, okay, as you go on further, and so relevant. So when you do an exercise, for example, like a row, okay, or like a deadlift, okay, you're going to see that eventually your muscles are going to be able to support the exercise, support the mechanics of it. Okay, so that is why, in my opinion, stabilization endurance, the first phase of your training, should be taken very seriously. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Okay, stay tuned for more videos, as next week I'm going to be talking about the second phase of our training, which is strength endurance, which is also very important. And if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. Please feel free to subscribe right down on the YouTube page. And if you have any comments, guys, feel free to answer as well. If you have any questions or anything like that, I'll try to answer you as quick as I can. Okay? Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned.